Hi. Wait, Lucas isn't here. Who is this person?
I'm playing the role of Lucas today. Gee, Mr. Burke, I hope I do a good job.
I hope so too. We have a special guest here because Lucas is off playing in Disneyland. I think that's what he said he was going.
He said he was going to Disneyland, and I don't believe he won the Super Bowl, so I don't understand what's going on with that.
Well, you know, he's feeling like $1 million, man. When you feel like $1 million,
he's
act
youthful.
like a millionaire.
Youthful. He's youthful,
Yeah.
full of hope. Yeah, we have to crush that.
Remember young Owen when Eric decided that he was a little bit older and like
young
he said,
Owen
let's do a
dead.
podcast every Saturday night. And young Owen was like, how dare you, sir? You're going to take away my life.
Young Owen wanted to have some
Lucas
sort of a social life. Young Owen was a fool. You know, that's problems. Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Not much.
It is. Yeah, we're at episode 52. So
goodness.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my Steve Vai guitar in the background there.
I noticed.
Focus.
Right. Ah, shit. Here.
It's right over there. Yeah.
I forgot to put it away.
I keep mine over there. You know, it's just off screen.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So what are we drinking? Owen's drinking some kind of beer, so let's get his out of the way.
Angry Orchard hard cider. I don't know what kind of press it is. I don't know what beans they use to make it or what kind of ground.
You're already failing, man.
Yeah, whatever. Listen, if I drink coffee at 5 o'clock, I will be awake till 3 a.m. So I don't know how you do it, you monster, where you're like, I sleep now, and then you do this in 5 minutes, and then you're like, good, I have awoken. Now time to do
I'm
more
like
What the?
I'm like if I do this, it's like you know, like those superchargers for your iPhone. You know what I mean? It's like charges it real quick.
A little bit. Yeah, I've seen it. You're like, you know, I'm like, all right, it's 4 a.m. Let's all get some rest. We're up at 6 a.m. Eric's already been up for 2 hours and he's drinking coffee. I'm like, wait, the math doesn't add up. Like, I don't. Yeah. Yep. So.
It's about right.
Yep. I will stick with this. You guys can have the coffee.
Angry Orchard. Can you drink coffee now?
I can now. See what happens when they remove organs. You can do work. You can do other things now. So, yeah.
Fair enough. What do you got, Riley? What are you drinking?
I am working on that Cafe Luna stuff from Seattle that that was sent to me. It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's like a very medium roast, sort of like full flavor, not too harsh. Really good stuff. And I've been putting it in the French press and letting it go for like 10 minutes now, like you were saying, and it's much better.
You can taste the difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't just drink it immediately once it's done. Who knew?
No, and I didn't do that before either. I used to let it go like 5 to 7 minutes. But yeah, I think this is better.
I don't know. It's something about those extra couple minutes. Who knows? You know,
it allows it to you know, breathe a little. Wine people will tell you that's very important.
Yeah. I'm still drinking the same thing as I was last week. Relevator 9 to 5 house blend. It's a dark roast. It's delicious. Similar to what you're saying, Riley. Not too crazy. Just coffee. You know,
really middle of the road, good flavor. Yeah.
One thing I will say is that we did get. I'm going to share this picture.
I don't want to see it. I know which one you're talking about. I don't want to see it. It hurts too much.
So our good friend Luke is down in Australia. Well, he lives in Australia, but he is herping, up in the Northern Territory. And I'm gonna leave it for his special announcement. But the one thing that he sent us early in the morning, which I was
you can almost taste it. You can taste
I was missing it. So I was so missing it.
When you go to the gas station and get the double shot black ones, the big bottles, and you're like, this will keep me awake for another hour and a half. So yep.
I guess I'm gonna try it here. I gotta open it on the screen that I'm in. So
that you're in and do all that fun stuff. So I somehow we have to get in contact with the people who make that and tell them that they're missing an opportunity to distribute in the United States, because there were people who will drink it. So
this is like a United States drink all the way, man.
I know, right? It's nothing but sugar and coffee flavored liquid. Like it's Yes.
Ice break.
Oh God.
Riley, that is like the best drink ever.
Get the black. No, the black bottles are extra strength.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, it's so good.
Get his like we would go to the gas stations and it'd be like they have black ones and we'd be like throwing them in our arms and like rushing out and drinking them. It was insane.
Nice.
So yeah, good times.
Yep.
But okay, so that's what we're drinking. I guess so we're going to talk a little bit about eggs and incubation and some of the issues that we may have run into while we have been breeding all these years, since we're coming up into, I guess at this point it's starting to warm up here a little bit. I think the problem is we have too many here, at least where we are, Owen. It's like 20, I think it was 21 degrees this morning.
Yeah.
And tomorrow will be 70, 70?
70. And then
It's the high.
We're doing this bullshit. Like sun up, sundown, sundown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, warm up. Oh, nope. like I have a couple of animals that I need to ship out. And I'm like, any day. Nope, never mind. Nope, they're staying here still. So it's like that. But I do still have some animals pulled and together. And I'm looking at about 3 carpet females that are coming down the pipe towards their prelay sheds. 2 of them coastals, 1 of them jungles. Yep.
Wow.
So,
okay.
And then everything else is up in the air. Everything else is up in the air. I've like always, no fucking clue what's going on with anything else.
Yeah. Riley's adopting your way of thinking as well.
As he should. Good.
He's gonna have like
my good Padawan learner. You can have the other one. I'll take him.
Do you? Are you ready for the onslaught of what's about to happen to you?
What, Riley as my
Not
Padawan?
you, Riley.
Oh, Riley? No, he's aware.
Oh yeah.
I just take it day by day.
As he should.
That's the way to go, man. I did get this really cool. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I did get this really cool carpet from Mr. McIntyre.
I know a guy. Yeah.
This nice male tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tiger male that I rejected. He was not a keeper, only because I have one that's older. So otherwise he would be staying. And I kept 2 other red tigers. So I'm like, I really want this guy to go, but nobody seems to want him. And I really want him to go close because I want him to stay in the family in case I need him or his offspring. So Eric was like, I went down to Eric's to drop off a bunch of birds and to pick up a bumpy ball python. And I'm like, here's a tiger. Like, so yeah.
You get a tiger.
So
I didn't ask this, but
it looks a lot like this one I got from Todd years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
What is this, from the 07 red stuff, or is this from MBB red stuff?
It is not from 07 red. It is from that tiger female you gave me a while ago to a
Ted Thompson tiger.
It's a Ted Thompson tiger female. I have a tiger male that is like he's a MBB Russian.
Okay.
Yeah, him. He's like a tri tiger. He's all of them mixed.
Gotcha.
So it's from him.
So this is a every tiger in the thing. There you go.
He's a tiger, and then
I didn't realize it was from the Ted Thompson tiger.
Yeah, she throws some good babies when you throw a good male at her. Man. Yeah, she took the year off this year because I bred her like 3 years in a row, and I wanted to give her a pause. But I swear to God, she's ovulating, and I'm like, no, and no, I'm giving you a break. Please stop. Like I tried to give my snow corn snake the year off, and she ended up laying like a clutch. Like had never seen the male. She ended up doing that, and I'm like, cool, thank you. Like stop. And then she actually laid another clutch a couple months later, so she doubled, and that's not what I needed. So,
okay,
yep.
Did you guys get any cool reptiles this week? Riley?
Yes.
Geckos. How's the geckos are doing?
Yeah.
They're good. 2 of them are growing real fast. One of them's a little bit smaller than the other 2, so I might have to like source out some extra tiny crickets this week. But otherwise, they're rad, man. They're fun. As soon as lights go out, you throw some tiny little crickets in there, and one of them within minutes just starts hunting crickets like a little assassin. And they've definitely grown.
Really?
Got here, but yeah, one of them is a little seems to be growing at a slower pace, but I don't see anything with it. So, but they're freaking rad, dude. They're really cool. Yeah, they're different pace of life around the place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Owen got a bumpy ball python.
I did. and she's awesome, dude. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm officially now.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she's really cool. And she doesn't like,
Yeah.
she's not mean or anything. Right? I put up, I'm like, it's a bumpy ball python. And Nick was like, I think you spelled bumpy rock python wrong. And I'm like, well, he's not wrong. Like, it's close, but she's really chill and really cool. And she ate like 2 mice immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. Oh man, she's a killer. So yeah, I got her. I got another carpet from you, which is head albino. And then if you'll notice, the rough scale cage stack over that area has now grown by 1 cage. So there's 3 there.
See that?
Yeah, she's not in it yet. She's still over here in quarantine, but I did pick up the other female rough scale python. She is massive. She's the biggest goddamn roughie I have ever seen. She is bigger than I think any of Eric's carpet pythons, which is astonishing. And so I pulled her out and she did the threat display. And of course, me being me, I'm like, I'm going to take a picture rather than realizing the animal is telling me to back the fuck off. I'm like, picture time. And she just nailed me right on the arm. You can kind of see the bruise that she left on my arm.
Guns.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, of course. Right there, that discoloration bruise. She nailed me. And I'm like, yes, I can feel the fishhook teeth. Okay. Like, it was, awesome.
It was a hard bite?
It hurt like hell, dude. But it was one of those like, well, this will be mine now. It's good. We finally found a rough scale python. It reminded me of that video of Barczyk when he first got the one and it's just lighting him up the entire time he's holding it.
At the Australian reptile show.
And that's all she is just she was just trying to light me up. I'm like, oh no, I finally got what I wanted. So it's
nice. Very cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the only new additions you got? Usually you have like 10 new snakes or something.
Well, I'm waiting for other shit. The Mandarin didn't come. I have to wait for her. Riley still got the other Mandarin. The Bairds is over here too. That's about it.
Oh, you said Bairds. Where's Justin? Where's Schmitty?
No, the Bairds are downstairs. The Barons is over here. I don't know why I said Bairds. I took pictures of them today, but
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, they were doing she was using the tube thing. So
very cool. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm selling snakes.
What's that like? I've never done that.
Oh, man,
yeah,
it's a different type of selling snakes. I feel like I've ascended into like a different chapter of like a sign of like, okay, now go this way. So I'm parting ways with all my holdback bows that I've been growing up for the last couple of years. I'm probably going to get rid of most, if not all, the corn snakes and just chalk that up as a bad timed. I don't know.
I mean, dude, I mean, corn snakes, but like, if you're passionate about the corn snakes, more power to you. But I've always got the thing of like the corn snakes, they don't need a lot of my attention. They kind of are just there, and then they breed.
Right. And so that's the thing. They don't need a lot of attention. In fact, they all really hate me. It's really funny. But I was thinking about it. Like, I really want to right now invest in upgrading. They're all growing up. I really don't want to like rearrange this whole room for grow up corn snakes right now. That's just not the red zeppelins, Justin. But the rest, I'm just like, what the hell am I doing?
Well, so, I mean, I mean, it does come down to space, but how much space does the corn snake really take?
Well, that is not the fact that they take up a lot of space. That my space is limited. Having them means compromising space for all the females that I've got and a few other things, and I just have a lot of space. So,
yeah, and I would agree that the boas are like, you choose a boa versus like a rainbow versus this. That's comparable to a carpet. So I get that. So yeah.
If I'm seeing the light, and it's funny because everyone like told you that. I'm like, yeah, heard that. I know. I'll get there when I get there. Slower sometimes. Right here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? You try things because, again, man, it's hard when you're doing when you're exposed to any kind of people that are excited about a species, regardless of what it is, and
yeah,
they if you get that right person talking about it, you get locked in, man, and you're just
look
like,
at my
God
collection.
damn, I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like if I had more space and that wasn't an issue, I probably wouldn't really be thinking about it. But at the same forward, do I really want to deal with teeny tiny hybrids amongst everything else? Do I really want to deal with like having a separate aim of incubation? I already have 2 incubators that I have to run every year right now. Like I don't need to have a third approach of incubating other groupings of species. It's just too much. While I, a hobby on the side, like I've already got a freaking over 100 animals that I take care of on a daily basis for fun.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then I do it all day for 40 plus hours a week. So,
yeah.
Yeah, if you're not careful, man, that's a quick way to burn yourself out,
It is. It really is. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The second this
I have so much
fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's never not been fun. I got to the point where I feel like it's bore or anything. It's just I don't know. I just when put between one decision or the other, it's very clear for me and deliberate where my priority is when it comes to that point. I'm like, well, I tried to make it fit and work, and it has nothing to do with not liking them, but another other place maybe. But for now, I feel like I'm coming back to center. The pendulum is swinging right back to center. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. My problem is I'm sitting here and I'm like, somebody offered me 100 flowers, babies, when that they're almost ready. Apparently they're almost ready, and I'm like, no. Like, I can't do this. I don't have the space. I don't have the thing. And I've been there, and I'm like, and I should have said no, but instead I'm like, yeah, let me know. Yeah, we'll talk about it, because I know what's going to happen. It's going to be like, no. And then they're going to put them in my hands, and I'm going to be like, no, man. And then I'm fucked. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
I think, I think now I'm officially to all Australian pythons, obviously, except for Popwins.
Right.
But
they count.
I don't have any other species, just all Australian stuff. Olives, waters, carpets, rough scales, womas.
You still have the retic or no?
Oh, yeah. I do have that. I always forget about that.
So you're still within the Australian Indo range, but you're
I don't
only
really
there.
consider that mine, though. So
yeah, it's a loner animal. So
yeah.
But
I get
are from Australia, and so
yep. Even all my plants are from Australia.
Very thorough, Owen.
But some would say he has a little bit of obsession with a certain area of
a little
the world,
bit,
but I don't know what that is. Yeah.
A little bit,
maybe
it's possible.
I just think like it's my way to. So this is how this might help you, Riley. This is how I balance this stuff in my head. If I get into North American stuff, to me, it's strictly herping, right? Like I don't want to keep any of it, but I want to see it in the wild, especially rattlesnakes. Luckily, I have.
You don't have that bug to have like 5 rattlesnakes in your room?
No, No,
What the,
not at all. Not even
imagine.
a little bit.
I
I don't want anything venomous. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to worry about going out to my snake room or, like I saw, Scott, he posted up last week where it was flooded in his area. And it's like he didn't go to work on the snakes because God forbid something happened, right? It's a responsible thing to do and all that. But like, I don't know, man. I don't want to deal with that. I did a long time ago, and I don't want to ever have to deal with it again. So I'll enjoy those things either in the field or at somebody else's collection or something.
Yeah, and every zoo where you see the timber rattlesnake in the same enclosure as the copperhead, it's every zoo enclosure. So,
right. So, yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to give an update. Those tiger-looking diamonds hatched out.
Oh.
Did you guys? Well, yeah.
I saw them. I know what ones you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. I definitely looked at them. Those things were sweet.
Oh my God!
Crazy, man.
Oh my God!
That thing is going to be insane.
The head pattern is just insanity.
Yeah, that snake's going to be nuts.
And this is pure diamond, right?
Well, there's some speculation there, but the idea that diamond pythons can't be striped is kind of silly, right? I don't know if this striped is
that
really...
is a little bonkers, right? Like I'm expecting. We've seen some striped diamonds before, or high percentage diamond jungles that kind of have a stripe to them. This thing looks like a coastal stripe. Like I don't see the diamond.
Well, kinda
at all. Where?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm with you, Owen. I got nothing. I'm grasping at straws.
Now, it could it be? Totally. And are the colors going to develop? Totally could. I don't know, but that thing looks nuts.
And then you have, this was another one in the clutch, which to me this looks more like what you would see in a tiger. So for
if I want a striped diamond, I want a diamond that's striped. This looks like a tiger, like a coastal.
That looks like a tiger.
If I want a striped diamond, I want a diamond that has a stripe going down its back. I don't want this. This is a coastal.
However,
is it carpet?
One thing I will point out, right? This is from Balin.
Yeah, the head looks.
What I've learned from him. Usually a tiger.
Yeah.
What I'm showing is there's on the head pattern towards the neck, I guess what you would call like the mask of the snake, right? Yeah. Typically, like carpets have like the line that goes through their eyes and it goes back to their jaw.
Yeah.
Well, this connects to the stripe. See?
Yeah, going down the back. All Balin tigers have that stripe thing. Yeah.
It stops right here.
Yeah.
Basically, got this weird.
Yeah, that stripe thing on the back of its head going down a little bit would be connected to the head stamp via that little thing, but it's got a little break there, which is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a gorgeous animal. Don't get me wrong. It is a gorgeous animal. They all are really nice animals, really cool looking. It's just that when you say striped diamond, this is not what I expected to see.
No. Which is the weird thing. And then this one probably looks more like a diamond.
It's got the weird. It's got the weird break too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I don't know if diamond. Go to Australia.
Go to Australia, figure this out, and then come back and report.
And then this one kind of looks like it has sort of that same mask. So for those who are listening, if you want to see the pictures, just send me a message and I'll send them.
That's dark.
To you.
Yeah.
Those are a trip.
Very, yeah, man.
I'd pick them all as holdbacks for at least a year.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it said in the thing. It said not for sale, so please don't ask.
Shut your mouth. Okay.
So this is what they said about it. This is what we got from our diamond pairing. They had high mortality rate with 6 of the 18 pulling through. So only 6 survived, right?
Out of 18. So what does that tell you? Maybe possibly incubation like issues?
Well, I think Travis sort of sort of debunked that, didn't he, Riley? Didn't he send us a message sort of talking about that?
Yeah. He did a pretty in-depth discussion about how it has to have like crazy extreme heats, like very abruptly, like from what it's normally at, then all of a sudden just goes through the roof and then stays there. And they didn't have anything like that.
All right. Well, then, I mean, my thing is that Eric and I have seen high percentage diamonds before, and they look like diamond pythons. I mean, I remember seeing some at Bill's that were 88%ers. You would not know if somebody, if you're a layman, that they were not. So
yeah.
And I don't know. For all you know, they could be high percentage coastal crosses, and when you mix them together, you got the right combo of insanity.
Bob Evans says the
probed
mother
by
of those
aliens.
snakes were probed by aliens.
Let's leave that as theory number 3. Theory number 1 is that there's some coastal blood. Theory number 2, alien intervention. And then
but that's the thing to me, though. It doesn't even look like, I get the whole coastal carpet thing, right?
Right.
And whenever I've seen a diamond and a coastal carpet produce something, right?
Are we talking U.S. breedings? Because, dude, the coastals and the diamonds that we have are so far removed.
The
inbred.
Well, no, I'm going to say that the diamond pythons that we have that would be crossed with a coastal carpet look like diamond pythons, and the coastal carpet looks like a coastal carpet. But when you mix them together, you sort of get a mix of both looks, right? You get sort of like a diamond python type pattern, but with a more of a southern coastal look, right? And from the ones I've seen in the wild, they seem to have the same thing. What's crazy about these things is that regardless of if they're crosses or not, Woma hidden gene,
there you go.
It's the hidden gene carpet.
It's the hidden gene carpet. Finally,
we'll call it a blackhead hidden gene.
Yeah, we'll call it a blackhead hidden gene.
You're not going with the Woma.
Fuck with people. This is a children's python carpet. Why would you do this? Yeah.
But it didn't produce anything that looked like a coastal carpet.
Yeah, that is true. They're all off on their own little island there. It's nothing. You don't have the you don't have the steps where it's like clearly this one's a coastal and okay.
Right. I guess I'll do one more shout out of the week, which this is just a crazy looking one. But Gary Shavina posted up his reduced pattern jag. So it was a reduced pattern diamond to a jag. Not sure what the jag was. I don't know if it was like a gamma.
One can only hope it's a gamma.
Yeah,
or
it was,
jungle.
It was a gamma.
Okay.
It was?
Yeah, it was. He had a small.
Shitballs.
He did a reduced pattern diamond to a gamma jag.
God.
And he had it was either a small clutch or a bunch of eggs, like tanked. So he only ended up with a couple offspring, but the variety looks that he got ones without jag and with jag, and so like the variety all in one.
When you say reduced pattern Jaguar, this is not what I expect to see. I expect to see a reduced pattern Jaguar.
Let me rephrase that better, Owen.
On it than fucking. I mean, dear God.
Let me rephrase it better for you.
All right.
It's a reduced pattern diamond jag.
Still doesn't do it. Like, remove the reduced pattern out of it. I mean,
that's the reduced pattern of the diamond.
I know, but I mean, look at the sides. The sides of it look like it's a freaking zebra, and then you've got these dotted patterns going down the back, and even the jag head stamp is weird. Like the whole thing is insane.
This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah! Oh
Fuck
yeah! Oh yeah! You let that go, you're insane. You sell that, you need to commit yourself. Oh my God!
I don't even keep jags, and that would be like, okay, I break that rule for that one.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, listen.
Just saying that.
Rules for that kind of shit can be broken very easily.
Now we know why Riley's getting rid of his corn snakes.
That's it. More reason for Jaguars. Yeah. I knew
he's seeing all these cool carpets popping out, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta have them."
Yeah.
I do have a long list of needs for my carpets to complete the set. You know what I mean? And there's a few other things on there, Karen. And you know, I had a dream the other night where I had chondros again, and I woke up in the middle of the night freaked out,
screaming. Yeah, as you should.
I don't know what that was about. So I don't know if that's an omen for my future or what. But
I think I told other buddy that I would keep and breed ball pythons before I did chondros again, and I think he cried. So
wow,
yeah.
Well, then I'll send you a pair of ball pythons, Owen.
Don't, because then I won't. Then I'll just sell them. It'll just be. I'll trade them for fuzzies. Like I don't need this. I don't need this. Don't want it. Yeah.
So here's the question. That's a
lot of feeders. Right? They're valuable these days, man.
Yeah. Here's the question: when the complete carpet book, the new one, the more complete carpet book comes out, and some new morphs are sort of shown and combinations that are put on the scene, possibly maybe a revamp of the species, the complex itself, adding some things that maybe I don't know, like I think of like my Archer River Cape Yorks, right? Are they going to be considered coastal carpets? Are they going to be something different? Are they going to be what's going to happen with them?
Right.
And like, the oddball stuff, like the weird, the gamma range stuff and all these things, like how is that going to play out? And then how is that going to then affect the lists of for me and you, Riley, to complete the set? I think of it like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was so close to completing the set.
Nick and Justin keep moving the goalposts from you guys where you can't get to it. It's just like you get closer and they're like, no. Like you're not done yet. Like, yeah.
Oh, I've got so much to add. I haven't even dipped my toe into locality coastals. I'm scared to rabbit hole because I'm the complete the set kind of guy, and I already know how much space I don't have. So
hey, I think you know a guy that's going to have a clutch of Brisbane's this year.
Yeah, so I can do it in stages. You know what I mean? I can do it in stages. I can evict some of these. I can evict some of these side tracks and these things that I got distracted by, and get another inland and get a few things. So
Bob's got a question of, do we think that the carpet market will get a bump when the new book comes out? And I would say yes. Probably. It will not be a massive bump because I don't think those exist anymore, especially
not
in this
from a book.
Fun things like that. But I do think you'll get a bump where, where carpet breeders will start producing some of the animals that they see, or even taking the book with them. Because I used to take the book with me to shows, and they'll show off some of the combos and cool stuff like that. And that will get some people hooked in, and that will start that whole process. So I do think we'll see a small bump. I don't think it's going to be, I need to sell my entire collection of boas and retics to get nothing but a carpet python. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I would see a little bit of a bump. Eric?
Yeah.
I think like anytime. Well, what's strange to me is that how much it seems that the carpet market has grown over the past couple of years, as opposed to when it was hot and heavy with the morphs and the combos and all those things coming out. And I don't know.
I would say that there's a steady demand for carpets. Like I don't really have too much of a problem selling the ones that I got, and I do have pet stores and dealers asking me for wholesale, which was not normally a thing. So I would say there's a steady demand for carpet pythons. It's not, I don't got people kicking down my door like that tiger male that I gave you, dude. That thing was with me since it was born, and I always had it listed. And you'd figure somebody would have jumped on that. Nobody did.
I still think that baby carpets are a hard sell.
They are. They are.
That I think is a hard sell.
Baby pythons, period, are a hard sell. Which is why I was
all pythons.
Well, and think about this: who are the people buying carpet pythons? Breeders or aspiring breeders, right? For the most part, the majority, right?
Yeah, some people do pets, but not a lot.
Yeah.
See, that's where I think it's changing.
I would agree.
That was my point. That was my point exactly. It's if this is a chunk of it's 2/3 or whatever other breeders or aspiring breeders, but now people that are realizing like this is a animal that does live up to this evil villainized reputation. If I want something as an interactive pet, if I want something that'll display nicely in a living room, if I just want one or a couple things to do that. If I want to breed, I can do that. And I think people are starting to catch on. So I think, it's going to increase just because time, more exposure with the species, more people putting out podcasts and photos and talking about it. And
also morphs are becoming cheaper. So I can have an albino carpet python as a pet if I really want an albino carpet python as a pet, because the prices have dropped into that pet range.
Yeah, they're under $500 for pure albino Darwins. Like if you want top of the line lineage stuff from Nick, you can get it for like $500.
So you can do that stuff. So that's where it kind of comes into it. So I would say that there's that. It's weird because it's like the new caramel down here is like the first carpet python I've added in. I don't think I even bought one last year, so that's a new carpet, and I'm like, weird, but I've definitely gotten more snakes, so it's like I haven't gotten carpets in a while. So
well, I think for us it's sort of like been there, done that, right? So I think like you guys are trying to find that extra projects for you guys that sort of like, you know, gives you that sense of excitement, if you will, outside of you know what your bread and butter is, right? You know, and that's cool, right? But you know, am I burking them? No, I'm not burking them. No.
Do you know how hard it was to not break my rule with this thing over here? Like there's an adult female ready to breed rough scale python in my house, and I have not chucked it in with my male because she has to clear quarantine, and it is killing me. It is killing me. Like I want to do this. I want the babies, but even if I miss this year, man, she's got to clear quarantine, and it hurts. But yeah.
See, I feel like I got my rocks off with the searching around for the extra stuff. Now I miss focusing on my bread and butter. I miss being a group. I miss
that happens.
Like I feel like the soul searching elsewhere that's recalibrated me and verified back to what I was doing. And I don't know. I think I have woken up finally, I guess.
You always come back to center, to true.
Yeah.
To your bread and butter, to your things. It's like if something were to happen and I'd have no carpet pythons in my house, but a bunch of other shit, carpet pythons would find their way back in. It would happen. Right. So, and that's just how it is. It's like a security blanket. I feel comfortable with my Morelia. Like it's looking at the beauty snakes going like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to look at a carpet and be like, 3 weeks, eggs, got it. Like that's all I need. So
it's you know, I poor Ian was saying earlier that it's a hard sell over in the UK, and I guess he was saying, I think he said somewhere that people might be afraid of them or whatever. People are afraid of them here for the most part, and it's kind of crazy to me that still exists, you know.
Dude, but I was at Hamburg. I was at Hamburg this past weekend with Jason Balin, Eric Kohler, and Balin and I were talking, and some guy and his kid walked up onto Jason's table and was literally telling the kid, he's like, I don't like, the kid's like, these are awesome. He goes, I don't want those shit. They're mean. They crap all over the place. They're shit animals. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, and the dude just keeps walking and talking about like how crappy carpets are with his kid. And Jason and I are there just watching it. Like, oh, well, thank you. Come again. Like, thank you very much. Cool. So that's just a stigma, man. There's certain people that just,
that just sounds like a hillbilly from Pennsylvania.
Probably a Pennsylvania idiot, you know.
But you know what? If you want or holding an adult that was chill, I don't think
right. but he's heard this, and rather than attempt to educate himself further or make up his own mind, he is stuck into that these things are shit and they're crappy and they're mean. And I guarantee you, he goes down several tables and buys himself an imported retic. Like
you're telling me that you expect the average person in the U.S. to educate themselves on any given topic and make their
no.
Are you out of your mind?
No. At one point, I would have hoped, but it's too far gone. We as a species are fucked. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's something about that just is very, very untrue.
Extremely
here
untrue.
In the U.S.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be exciting to see how the market has changed. I sort of really don't pay attention to it all that much anymore. If I look at it based off of like how many people contact me on a given day. And I can tell you over the past 6 months, God, I must get 50 messages a day.
I do make fake accounts and contact you for about snakes, though.
It's you?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
That's why there's never a sale.
I'm just like, it was you when it said, "Yo, snake, how much?"
Yeah, snake $? Question mark. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
There you go.
I see two sides of the market. I see retail, like pet store side, and I see the online, which is I pay attention to. And the retail stuff is it's real slow, but it's get more questions about them, but not quite as many people ready to take the plunge in that regard as far as like first time keepers or newbies too often.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then if you look online, there's a pretty solid turnover in a lot of the classified ads on places and in the carpet python sections. Like if you just check every day, you'll see it move. Some stuff takes a while to
what's the like the bread and butter of the retail? Is it like a corn snake? Is that like where it's at? Corn snake, bearded dragon type of stuff?
No, we had a heap of corn snakes. We were just churning them out, sort of past, and it ball pythons kind of day, but I would say the most commonly kept snakes right now are ball pythons, hog, king snakes,
anything you can put a hat on. Yeah.
Well, and people are starting to get a little more comfortable with some of the less. I've sold some blood pythons randomly here and there. That's a weird market in itself.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised at what people are keeping these days. There's more of the onesie twosie type people keeping a one-off weird, like something you would not expect. Like I've got somebody come and got a carpet on big junk. People come and say they've got reeks of, it happens. There's a guy who's very much into his garter snake.
You're breaking up,
so
Riley. I guess
I'm gonna
choppy
pull you and put you. See if that changes.
You're chopping up and all right. Jason, if you see me at shows, just stop me. I'm usually in my own head running around like an idiot. So, don't scream something, throw something at me. It's fine. Jason does it all the time. Or Balin does it all the time. So, yeah. But I mean, dude, you can't peg how the market's going to go and what's going to become popular, because all you need is one Instagram post of a certain species of snake, and all of a sudden that thing's going to be what everybody wants, and that's going to be nuts. So,
Riley, see, you were at the top with me. No one didn't like that, so he sabotaged your
sabotaged
feed,
you.
and you bumped
I have
out, and
that
now he's
power.
up. Now,
Riley, I could
now you're
mentally
clear.
I could kill you with my mind. I just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting for sure to see how it shakes out. But the funny thing, I missed this comment here, but Ian said that people that keep them long-term keepers are even scared of them, which I don't know, man. That's just crazy.
Dude, I don't know. Well, no, I can't. I have no room to speak. Well, because it's like I have some that I'm like, don't touch that one. Like, and that's other stuff. Most of my carpets are pretty chill. It's just that it's the other shit that I have. I ended up buying a case of venomous restraint tubes because it's hard to restrain some of this shit for like medicine or other crap by myself. So I'm like, screw it, tube, and why not? So
that's a good idea. I've considered getting those just to have them on hand for restraint for like medication and things if you ever need.
Yep. Midwest makes a kit of 10 different sizes. They're fantastic. Yep. And I used it because I was trying to sex some olive python babies. And I used the tubes kit because I was the only person down there.
Yes.
And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
There you go. Oh my God. This is so much better. And of course,
way easier.
Like, you're gonna tube a python, you pussy. It's like, well, god damn it, I don't have 12 hands. So yeah.
Well, it's easier to do it that way, and the snake doesn't freaking like hurt itself flailing around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it in a tube, lay it on the ground, put a pillowcase over it, darken it out, let the animal chill. Yeah. Way easier.
I have 2 snakes that right now are antibiotics because I found out my adult blonde hognose are I thought I had 2.2. Turns out I had 3.1. So 2 of the adults are males, and they carved each other up. Oh yeah, like yeah. So Melissa thought maybe we'd have to do stitches. We didn't have to do that, but they're on antibiotics. They're healing up quite nicely. There was clearly one winner, one loser. The loser is he flails around and he bites, and he's a hognose. He's, there is some venom stuff to talk about there. So I just put him in a tube and then give him a shot. So
you're talking about, I wanted to throw this out there real quick. Is like, and maybe this is well known to people. Maybe it's not, I don't know, but chlorhexidine, right?
Yeah.
So I had my one zebra had a little bit of funk in its mouth, right? Like the little cheese that it would get, right? And so I cleaned it out real good or whatever, and the vet he's right down the corner or whatever, I had a picture of it when I was there for the dog and the cat or whatever, but I had a picture of it and I showed it to him and I said, would it be okay? He says, do you have chlorhexidine? I said, yeah. He says, just clean it out. He said, just clean it out for like a couple days with chlorhexidine, see how it favors, and then if you still have any issues, just come back to me. And I heard about this before, and like it's basically the stuff that they use to clean your mouth out when you're getting, when they're working on your mouth and stuff like that,
right?
Like a dentist, right? Anyway, dude, it was gone 2 days. Like maybe I caught it early. I'm sure I probably did, but just the idea that, and obviously I'm not saying don't go to your vet or whatever, but like I'm amazed at like how resilient these reptiles are and like how fast they heal. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, topical stuff, I'd probably be fine with that. I have something about like the people who are like nebulize the chlorhexidine so they can breathe it in. I'm like, I don't want them like that's like putting chemicals in their lungs. I have a thing about that. Like I don't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think this is like there's a little bit. So a lot of people will use like a humidifier to nebulize.
I have nebulizers.
But here's the
thing
with nebulizers are not a humidifier.
No.
Right. There's something about that unit. I don't know exactly what it is, but a nebulizer is sort of like it's made. I use it for asthma, and I can't like hook up my asthma medicine to a humidifier and breathe it in, and I'm like, oh, I feel better now.
So much better.
Like that. You need the nebulizer. Oh yeah.
Dude, the nebulizers are not expensive. And what the hell is he doing back there? Whatever. My male has realized that there's a female, below him, and then there's another female in the room, so he's been raging the whole freaking time. But dude, nebulizers, they're not expensive. They really aren't. And it works great. And actually, I've been reading that there's some people that when they have sick snakes, they actually they let them soak in tubs of Pedialyte, where they drink it and they get those kind of electrolytes and nutrients. Because the biggest problem is that when a snake is sick, they're not eating, they're not getting any kind of stuff like that. So it's one of those things where it's like they lose ground as they're getting better. So it helps, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to when they're undergoing something like that, dehydration can cause things to get worse. So that sort of rehydration therapy is definitely good for them. Yeah. Anytime we see the signs of something getting a little lethargic or fatigued, I throw it in some lukewarm water with a little bit of this electrolyte powder and mix it up and get the animal to soak, and you'd be surprised at what a difference it makes sometimes.
Well, and then it was something we were talking about.
Hold on, you kind of broke up there for a second, but you use an electrolyte powder. Like what is it? Where are you getting it from, or what is it?
Zoomed makes an electrolyte powder. It comes in like the same jars as the calcium and whatnot. And yeah, it's a game changer.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, and we've talked about it where like people are like, oh, it has a stuck shed, might be due to hydration and shit like that too. So, you know, there's different give or takes with that, where you can think about what it could be for why they're having a rough shed or why they're having these difficulties. Could be hydration, could be nutrients, could be a bunch of things, you know. It really just depends. So it's another bullet for the gun, man. If the snake is sick, now I got another thing I could possibly use to help it get better and along its way, as opposed to like, I will bump the heat up 2 degrees and it will get better, right?
Yeah.
Never
it will, right?
Work for me, by the way.
No, it needs a doctor. Like it is. The number one reason no one doesn't respond to shit on Facebook anymore is the snake sick. How fix? Go to a vet. I was thinking more along the lines of what temperature do I set it at? Like, no, take it to a vet, dude. Like, you know, it needs to go to a doctor. Like, whatever. So
yeah. So okay. So let's switch into our topic about eggs and stuff, and I'll talk about 2 of my things that I've learned over the thing. Right. So when you have a snake hatch out and it fails to shed, have its first shed, right? Okay. So I talked to Nick about this, and here's some of the advice that he gave me. And of course, it was great advice, and it sort of worked. Right now, I will preface this by saying that you can't, I'm talking carpet pythons, and I'm not talking any other kind of python. And the one that sticks out to me in particular is short-tail pythons, because they take forever to shed, right? So you're talking like months, right?
Right.
So it's a completely different thing, which is fascinating to me all on its own. And I would want to know why that is. Like, why is it that some pythons will shed within a month, other pythons it takes, longer? I'm sure that I have to, like, I don't know, think about that and really try to wrap my brain around it, or just ask Keith, Rob, or Matt, and they'll probably know.
They'll know everything. Yeah.
So I'm just talking about carpet pythons, right? So that if it fails to shed out in the first few weeks after hatching, it could be a result of poor yolk absorption, right? So which I don't know how you would prove that. I don't think you could, but that's sort of the thought, that maybe
squeeze it really tight so that the yolk gets into where it needs to go.
Oh. Yeah. Don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
So one of the things that I had this problem with the albino zebra jag clutch that I had a while back. I think I had it in 2018, maybe 2018. Yeah. Anyway, so he just told me to try to feed them. Most of them did feed. Some of them did not. So I sort of did the old pinky head trick type of thing, just to get something in its system. And that triggered the shed, right? So I guess the idea is it stretched the abdomen, and it usually triggered the shed, and there you go. So that's one thing. Here's another. Number 2, when the snakes start to pip, my go-to thing now is that I take a wet paper towel and I kind of cover the eggs over top of it, because I've had it. How many times? I had 2 times where I sort of was opening and looking at them, and you had some that were out, some that were half out, some that had their head sticking out. And I guess I must have startled one of them, and they probably thought I was some kind of predator going to eat them. So they took off out of the egg, and then they died. So I I just sort of put the paper towel over top of it to sort of give them some sense of cover. So there's that. And then the only other thing that I had was wet spots on eggs. So there was a thread that was going around in Facebook a while back, and I thought it was kind of interesting where you take your eggs and we've taken them from the snake and we're just putting them in the incubator and then sealing it up. So one of the things that was talked about is like sort of before you seal the egg box, let those eggs come to the temperature that's in that incubator and then seal the egg box. Now I don't do any kind of like plastic seal over top.
Yeah, my egg box is not like airtight. Like you need air exchange.
No, but some people do where they put the saran wrap on top of it,
the press and seal,
close down the lid.
Yeah, you know, I actually send my eggs through a lamination machine so they're completely sealed, or I put them in my vacuum sealer so that they're.
I thought you were going to say
in there, baby.
You remember Quiznos where you would get the sandwich and it would go through like that or Domino's pizza where it would go through that little cooker? I
just put them right through the whole tunnel. They just go in, and then it takes them several months to pass through. It's a very long tunnel.
So it's just common sense science, right? And it's just what Bob said in the thing, right? That cold eggs will cause condensation.
Yep.
Well, tell me anybody that sort of leaves the lid off of their egg box.
Well, again, my egg boxes aren't airtight, and the problem is like, so you don't mix your vermiculite with cold water.
Eggs,
like I know it's the temperature of the eggs, but it doesn't take forever. Like it doesn't go like ding. It's like they don't ramp up to that temperature so quickly. Like
oh dear, Riley, help me here.
No, silence, intern.
Anyway, I had a problem with condensation in the egg box. I tried the trick; it didn't happen no more. So
anyway. I have never had condensation until the eggs are close to hatching.
Close to hatching?
Yeah. When they start giving off that insane amount of heat that eggs do. So I don't ever have condensation. Now, I keep my egg boxes in my incubator. So when a female's getting ready to lay, I plug in the incubator so the egg boxes are going up to that temperature. But then I just take the eggs from her and put them in the incubator. I don't know what these guys are doing and taking them to the fridge for a couple minutes and then put them in the incubator. Like it's usually just kind of a transition. So I don't know.
Jason says he puts his egg boxes in the incubator for a few days ahead of time to check the temps.
That's
a good idea too.
That's smart. You should always check the temps of your stuff. Now, I would say that my thing that I learned with egg boxes is always check your with incubation and eggs, and that's always check your incubator to make sure the fucker's plugged in.
No wonder you're not getting condensation.
Yeah, it's no heat. Yeah, weird.
Slow and steady wins the race.
82 days soon. Like it is, whatever. So,
are you sure these aren't scrub pythons?
Any minute
I
now
can't figure it out.
It's only been month 12. Like it is, yeah. I would say that we tend to overthink things like eggs and stuff like that, and overthink a lot of things with reptiles. And I think taking a couple steps back and removing yourself from the situation is sometimes a lot better than getting plugged in and fucking around with everything. And I would say just that. So that's the first thing, is always make sure your incubator's plugged in. I would say the other thing is that even if, because I used to pull apart my eggs all the time, and I actually ruptured several eggs by pulling them apart. You can just like jam the eggs back together, like push them really tight against each other.
They'll glue themselves.
And they'll glue themselves. Like if you're separating, if you're separating eggs and you accidentally tear one, stop, push them together, like jam the other eggs up against it so it's all smushed in tight, and it'll glue itself back together.
100%.
No kidding.
I'm like, dude,
I did that last year.
I had people who were like, you have to use fiberglass, you have to do all this other bullshit. No, just smash it back together and run away. Stop touching it. Like just do it and then leave it alone.
Okay.
I would also say, moving on the same thing of, we meddle too much, that a lot of times those nasty ass eggs are not going to mess with your entire pile. So you can sit there and be like, I'm going to try to rip them apart. You're going to do more damage than good. I've taken scissors and just cut nasty eggs in half and then let the remaining shell that was left just dry up and get stick to it. Yep. Somebody, a guy I know had, they were Woma eggs, and one had a weak shell and was ruptured, and he actually took little patches of fiberglass and kind of put it on there and kind of pasted it on there, and that's what he called it good, which I don't think you got to do that. I mean, I know some people have used Scotch tape. I know some people have used even almost like paper mache, like they take tissues and just keep slapping them on there until it's like almost like a shell thing. If it loses a little bit of yolk, it's not going to kill the baby inside. You're okay. So, yeah.
I've and slice them. They rehydrate them because it gets all wet and pliable again, and then like use it like an egg Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the stuff that Damian Hyde used back in the day? Remember when we had him on, I think it was the very first season of NPR, where he took the
Was it crazy glue?
He took like I want to say it was like new skin something. It was like a patch.
Yeah, it's the liquid it's the liquid Band-Aid shit, which is crazy.
Tegaderm stuff, right?
Yeah.
Duoderm, Tegaderm, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that.
I would also say the other thing I've learned is that it doesn't matter if it's perlite, vermiculite, moss, a sponge, or just water. Like, all of these things can work. So if anybody's like, I only get the best ground, pure cut vermiculite, you're spending a ridiculous amount of money on shit you don't need.
Yep.
Staples. Jesus.
Staples. Always an
now,
option.
Riley, you use Hatchright, right? You swear by that stuff.
Yeah,
Isn't that just
that's all I've been using for like it. Crystals in it, so you don't add any water to it. Right out the bag, it's got enough moisture in it. The nice thing is, obviously within limitations, I pop a couple little for my carpet eggs anyway. I use six quart just generic like Holmes shoe boxes that are not airtight, and they just click down, and I just put one little hole on opposite sides, and just enough for a little layer in the bottom. I throw an egg crate down, and enough for the eggs to sit and not touch the lid, because most of the clutches I get fit in those. So yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, that stuff is like literally right out of the bag. It's good to go. But I think the most important thing is to actually pay attention to the temperatures of everything involved. You want your incubator running ahead of time, so it's up to temp and cycling. You want the egg boxes and the media that you're going to use up to temp and cycling beforehand, so that when your eggs that are probably going to be laid in the low to mid 80s in temperature around the snake in the enclosure, that when it goes into the incubator around the mid 80s, it's not a huge shock, and then you don't get any crazy temperature fluctuation that builds that condensation and everything.
But there's going to be temperature fluctuations if they had stayed with their mother. So I don't know why we're like, we can't have the temperature fluctuations from mother to incubator. Like, that takes 5 fucking minutes. Like, this is
I don't think it's an issue of the fluctuation. I think it's the issue is what that fluctuation is going to happen when you put it in the incubator. At least that's what I was getting at earlier, right?
If it's a dramatic fluctuation,
right, you're gonna create condensation, as opposed to where the mom in the coils, she can open up and tighten up and open up and tighten up, leave it, come back, go to the water, run through.
So put them in, like put them in, leave, come back. If there's condensation, get a paper towel and then put it back.
Right. Yeah. Well, another way that I did this is a Buddy Buscemi trick is that he said to use a dowel rod.
Yep.
And you put the back of your egg box underneath on top of the dowel rod, so it sort of gives it a little bit of a tilt. And if you get any condensation, it'll all run down to the front, right?
Yeah, so. And it's not a crazy dowel rod. It's like a small thing.
Like a flag.
Yeah, they're they're not at like some
quarter
sort of
inch
skateboard ramp kind of a
use
deal.
a pencil.
No. Yeah, you could use a pencil too.
You
Yeah,
could.
100%.
Yeah.
Just use a pencil. Yep.
What do you think about the size of the egg box, right? This is something that's never really talked about. And I remember, I think we were at like maybe the second Carpet Fest. And I remember Howard was sort of talking about that a lot of people don't have the right size egg box because they use too small of an egg box. And then the air exchange that's inside the egg box doesn't really, doesn't do good things for the eggs. What's your thoughts?
I think a small egg box, like, dude, I have crammed, like with some of the bigger clutches that I've had, I've crammed eggs into like a clutch into 2 boxes, and we're talking like there are eggs all across the bottom of all across the plastic light diffuser from front to back. Like they're right up against each other, and they've all hatched fine. I would say that there's definitely more condensation on the egg or on the box lid when you get close to the end of the incubation because there's so many jammed in that little area. I would say a 5-quart, 6-quart shoebox with a latching lid, something that clicks into place. We're not talking huge. That has to have like the clips, but something you want to click, because anything that doesn't click, you have the potential of the lid being askew, especially if you're breeding monitors for the first time,
Escape-proof.
and then they're just loose in your incubator, which is a fun thing. I would say that, but a 5 is great for most carpet clutches. I would say that you don't want to go overboard. I think if you have eggs coating the entire bottom, that's like your max. Don't start stacking them on top of each other. Like, don't fill that thing to the brim.
I feel like 16 to 18 eggs, carpet eggs, is like the most you can fit in one of those boxes. Anything more than that, you might as well rock a 50. You know,
I mean,
those retic guys, they use multiple dudes for one clutch.
Right, because retics are massive and they have like 100 fucking babies. But
so I don't know. I feel like there's probably no hard rule about it, but you should have about as much airspace available in that egg box when the clutch is in there as the substrate, if not more. I feel like if the eggs are in there, say you've got them in a mass and you haven't taken them apart, if you look at your bin, I feel like there should be an even balance of air to substrate.
I would agree. That's why I like to kind of lay
rule.
them flat, because I don't like having them all mounded up if I can avoid it. Some 1 or 2 that are up a little bit higher or something like that, fine. I don't break them up that often that much, especially if they can fit in the egg box nicely. I don't break them up.
I'm with you.
Especially if there's only like 10 or something eggs. But
I only break that rule if I feel like there's an egg right in the middle and there's no surface area or something, and that baby's gonna go right through some other egg. Right. And I'll try and open that up. But yeah, I'm with you.
I've actually removed that guy, and then everybody else kind of lays flat, and then you kind of put
it nice.
There. So
clever.
It's one of those things where it's you can, if you have airspace above every egg, you're good. If you have them all mounded up, it's better to separate. And even if you take the clutch apart and it's uneven, totally fine.
Okay.
Use the I would say the olive eggs, there was no fucking chance in hell that they were.
I was going to ask that.
5-quart. No. They're just too big.
They're huge.
So I've only had, I want to say I've only ever had 20 eggs max in the clutch of olives that I've had. It was like 15, 16, couple slugs and stuff like that. So I think it was like 20 max, including the slugs.
What'd they fit in?
The 15-quart.
Okay.
It has to be a 15-quart, just because.
I'm surprised they fit in that with that big of a number. Those are big eggs.
Well, I mean, they were 15. The clutch size was 20, but there were only about 16 good eggs. And then you put them in there, and of course, there's some that I'm like, and they go bad, and you chuck them. But you kind of get them in there. A 15-quart is great because you have a lot of airspace above the eggs too, because they're so tall. But that takes up an entire shelf of your incubator. Like, I have all these little 6-quarts that are stacked on top of each other that have all the carpet eggs, and then there's just one shelf that's got the 15 that's got the olive eggs on it. So you kind of got to do it. And as far as like mixing, I know what they're talking about with that stuff. The formula was always 50-50 water to substrate to mix it.
Yeah, but that's just the media,
right?
The media mix.
I eyeball it, to be honest with you at this point.
Yeah.
It should feel like wet sand. You should be able to pick it up, squeeze it, and then it kind of sticks together clumps, whether it's vermiculite or perlite, and then you put it down. And then I like to kind of put a grate and tip the bin so that all the excess water drains out, but you still have that wet kind of sand consistency of your substrate.
I found the one time I tried to actually like weigh it out on a scale and everything.
That's so fucking annoying.
Dude, I fucked it all up. I ruined it. It was like way too wet. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to stop paying attention. I have better success when I just wing it.
Yeah, when you just go.
Right.
So
that's how I learned in zoos. It's like I'm going to do it by feel. I'm going to do it. And I made it work.
But once you learn that, once you get like the by feel, you can just do it. And then you're much better at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I use the what's the name of the company? Shit, the
sim container.
Sim container. I use like the Python.
How do you like those?
One. You know, this is my only, to Owen's point, right? This is my only problem with them is that when I had them, I just had to make this adjustment. So when I used to use Sterilite containers with the clips, right? And when I switched over to those, the lid doesn't clip to seal it. It just sort of sits on the top, right? And I had this clutch of tigers, and I let them so typically what I'll do is I used to just I would look once they start pipping out, I'll cover it with the paper towel and I'll put them back in and just let them come out on their own, right? I come back in a couple days, and usually most of them are out, and then that's when I would move them to a tub, right? But I didn't do that, and they all got out. Oh man! Luckily, they were all still in the incubator. But, it just was like, oh my god!
So
I knew I should have pulled
bigger box, right?
Yeah, I would say it's a little smaller than maybe a 15 quart. It's not quite as big as like a Sterilite 15 quart.
Yeah. So the bigger ones use a plastic lid that's molded and fits snugly in there, but there's nothing to secure. Smaller ones, it's a rubber mold, and it's different. It's weird.
Yeah, I have one that I use for my colubrid stuff that actually I filled it with perlite and stuff so I could bury the eggs because it's deeper than a lot of the other eggs. It worked great for me, but then last year all the rhino eggs went and they died in the eggs, so I'm like, screw this. So I'm actually going to try to do something with a little bit more air circulation and stuff like that. So we have a hard time at the shop with the sim containers with sailfin eggs. They just
really
the sailfin eggs just desiccate and dry out in those things. Like there could be condensation on the top of that lid. Put sailfin eggs in there and they just tank. Other things do fine, but
I actually poked holes in the lid of mine just because I wanted more air circulation when I had mangrove monitor eggs in there. And then the problem is that the mangroves hatched and they were like, lid, yeah, and then it was loose in my incubator. So
yeah. I mean, other than that, they sort of make it easy to do the so a couple things that I've learned over the years with using them. One, I used to just put water in the bottom of it, but the problem with that is when you're taking it to the incubator, if you for some reason you got to pull it out, you worry about the splash up or whatever. And I think what I did to compensate for that is I don't measure anything out. I just put some perlite in there just to sort of keep that water sort of from splashing all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
I used to do that with basically what I would do. I think I got this from you, Owen, but I would take 2 levels of that light diffuser grid.
Yep.
And I would sort of cut it to the size of it. And then I would just put water and, whatever substrate that I would be using with it. And just, again, not measuring it out per se, but just sort of, feel type of thing. You want it wet, and then putting them on top and putting the eggs there. The only thing that I noticed with that is, and again, maybe I just didn't have it high enough or I had too much water, but the eggs sort of pulled that water up. And where I find with the sim container, there's more of a space. Whereas what I was doing, it was sort of right on that substrate.
Yeah. I've been doing more. I want to start with the colubrids, actually bury the eggs a little bit in the substrate and then also throw a bunch of moss on top. And I used to do like, no matter what colubrid egg was hatching, they'd all go in the same bin. So there'd be like corn snake eggs here and, rhinos here, and then like king snakes in between and stuff like that. And now I'm just going to start dividing them up and giving them all their own bins so that I can kind of spread them out. Because I'm not sure if too much oxygen was getting sucked away and that's why the rhinos died, or this, that, and the other thing. So I'm just trying to give them, separate them out and see what's going on. And with colubrids, I've always just buried them and stuck them on a shelf in the snake room on like a high shelf or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to find a different spot that's a little bit more warmer, a little bit cooler. I don't know. We'll play. See what's up.
Yeah, Robert said that he keeps a bin of water in the bottom of his incubator to keep the humidity the same in the whole incubator as each separate bin.
I've never actually done that, and I've thought about it, but I've never actually done it.
Cool trick. You can do that and take it a step further. We're doing this at the shop in the bottom of one of our wine cooler incubators, because some of them have that little front lip where at the bottom it's like this big. You can't fit a bin there, but like it's usable space. We put a little tub of water there and put a computer fan on top of it, so it's just blowing up. And we had some bearded dragon eggs brought in from a customer, popped them in there. They're really shriveled. Put that thing on top, and they pop right up the next day.
I've heard of some people putting the bin in with water and then putting a bubbler, like you'd have it like a fish tank where it just keeps the water moving. And
I mean, incubation is a science. If you understand the physics behind what's happening and what needs to happen in order to incubate the eggs, specific to your species, of course, you can make anything an incubator. You can use a styrofoam box. You can use a wood box. You can use a plastic box. You can use a bucket. You can use a glass aquarium. I mean, you could use anything. If you know how heating elements work, how oxygen exchange moves, how temperature and climate control works, you can incubate something in a freaking cardboard box if you wanted to.
Like we're so lucky that we have all these glass front refrigerators that we've cannibalized or stolen and all this other crap. Where it's like back in the day, it was a cooler filled with water that you had to open up completely to look at the eggs, and God forbid you were breeding something dangerous or something like that. It would, So
what about that German guy over that I sent you that video clip in the chat, Eric? And you're like, oh yeah, that's the ring python guy who's got that like styrofoam box with a lid, and he put his own little plexi window in it, and it's just literally like some like PVC things, a little tray on the bottom of like a hardboard in there, some heat, and that's it. And he's been incubating successfully ring python eggs in there for like 30 years. And the thing looks like it's been buried 8 times in dirt and brought up and stored in the attic for a decade.
If it's not broke, don't ever try to fucking fix it.
Exactly.
Like I've been doing my same incubator, my Coke bottle handled incubator forever. I've never changed the heat tape out, and I've never changed the computer system out because nothing's broken. Like it hasn't broken yet. Once it does, I will have to change things out, but I keep getting success. I keep getting hatchlings every year, so I'm not going to fucking touch it because I know the second I'm like, you know what, I'm going to change the tape out, that's when everything dies. Like it's it doesn't. No.
Yeah, so, I'm with you, man. I've got a 6-foot Sobe incubator that's been beyond overkill for the first few years for me to have. Yeah, it's been fun because over the years I collect stickers and I've been slowly like covering all the stuff on the side.
I have the decals going down the glass. I have like yours and a couple other things. And
one of these days I'll replace the little light bulb in there because it came with a little switch on the front so I could turn the light on. But
I have a light bar in there that actually was tied because I kept the electricity still in the incubator. So when the heat turns on, the big fan at the top turns on and it circulates a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And it used to turn on the light and I'm like, oh, cool. That would be great too. But of course the bulb burned out and I can't find a bulb to replace it.
Yeah.
But I would love to do that. But I have built several incubators over the years.
Me too. Yeah.
The first one being, I had a chicken incubator that like had the shelves that would rotate the eggs, and I ripped those out and put wood ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put a big, I ripped the door off and put a big piece of plexiglass so I could look in. That was my first incubator. That worked fine. Worked great.
Right.
It was a step above the styrofoam hobobators because it still had the same heating elements, but it had a computer system. The second incubator, which is my current incubator, was the Coke fridge that I've built. And the way I built that is I would not recommend for anybody else building it. Is I took it out back and I cut the Freon lines and I ran. And then as it drained, as it drained the Freon in my backyard, I went back a couple hours later and ripped all the guts out of it, the compressor. I bled the oil lines and did all that fun stuff. And then the electricity I hooked up, I kept alive and everything like that. And I hooked it up to a plug, and then I hooked it up to a Renko that I drilled through the side of this incubator to run all the probes and stuff through. After that, I have built other mini fridge incubators that I've got, because I had a small mini fridge glass front that I got from a friend of mine that I gutted and built into an incubator and sold. And then I got a wine fridge incubator that I gutted and sold. That doesn't matter. The ozone is not. So there's a small hole in the ozone layer in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. So if we avoid that, we'll be okay.
Or if you go there, that's the quickest way to get a tan in under 15 minutes.
Yeah. But dude, like I had goggles on, I had like a ski mask, I had like oven mitts, and I'm just like kink, and I ran. Like it was.
I fully admitted that I did not know what I was doing when I looked at the compressor and everything in the back of mine, and I was like, you know what? I'm a strong guy. I've got a dolly. I'm going to leave that shit in there and haul it up 25 stairs into my apartment.
Fuck that.
And I did. And I still have it. And I think maybe the next time I move it, I'll YouTube how to cut all that crap out safely. But for now, I'm just like, whatever. It's unplugged.
Safely,
it doesn't work.
Do it.
Fine.
Like, what safely? What?
Yeah.
God.
I just threw 12-inch heat tape up the back of mine, and there's the hose for the coolant out the back. So I just set everything up, ripped out the stock fan that was in there, because it had a motor the size of my fist in there that made it 100 degrees when it would turn on. Replaced that with a computer fan, and then just threw all the wiring back down that hose.
The good thing is that, and I never actually fixed it, is the bottom of my incubator where I ripped out all the guts of the fridge had enough room to stack 2 server batteries. So I had that, and then my idea was to plug it into the wall so that it would constantly charge, so that if I ever lost power, the incubator would run off of these server batteries. They could run for like several days off of this. But the server batteries I had, something went wrong with them, and I had to get it fixed and stuff like that. But that was the plan, is that no matter what happens, the incubator is sound. Of course, this was back when I thought temperature mattered. I'm like, oh God, the eggs will drop below a certain temperature for several hours until I can get power back. Fucking, I don't care. Like it is, they'll be fine. Like it is, whatever. It'll just take longer. So,
yep, pretty much.
Clearly, this is why I like to do maternal incubation. I mean, I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. The only thing I would say when it comes to that is like where I've failed with maternal incubation is the whole. Well, of course.
Thank God I'm here when you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
When I failed with a couple of things that I would say, right? If the eggs are outside of the coil and you can't take it off, I don't know, try to take those eggs off if you can, and then just let the mom do her thing, because, I don't know. I think I jumped the gun there and probably could have maybe let them go. But
you could grab the eggs that were
would never
outside
have backlots by now.
You're right. I wouldn't. Thank God.
So,
that project.
Things happen for a reason.
That project that just keeps giving and giving. Anyway,
yes. You're welcome.
Bane of my fucking existence. But no, it's
I think you'll have success now that you've done maternal incubation. It's like the maternal incubation gods are going to shine down on you this year.
I let one tiger keep her eggs, and then I was just like,
yes, everything is good now.
Yep.
Wait, was the tiger you gave me from a maternally incubated clutch?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, I have a one-of-a-kind animal.
You got
here.
a rogue reptile's maternally incubated baby.
Oh,
that's an OMAC special.
That's like a trading card.
Oh shit. That's like the gold series of the trading card. Like when you pull out that one, you're like, yes.
Seal that baby in plastic. Yeah.
What's up, Darren? Yeah, so and then the other thing I did was that I had a female maternally incubated. This is actually my lightning line female, the 1 year that I bred her, and the clutch got too dry. Just dried out, which was strange. And the only thing I equated to is like maybe it was too low in my room. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if it was because like I'm thinking that it was too close to like the space heater sort of in the middle of my room, and I'm thinking like that dry heat sort of like really dried out that's the only thing I could equate it to. I don't know. It just seems weird that 2 levels above her, no problems, maternal incubation, but that level, for whatever reason, the eggs, she stayed on the eggs, but they just kind of dried out.
I would say the most fun was watching the Tiger Girl, because I come down for every morning for like AM checks, and she'd be out sitting on the bin doing her thing, and then I come down later and she'd be in the box on the eggs. And then I come down later at night and she'd be out again. And then she'd maybe get a drink, maybe eat something, and then go back onto the things. It was really fun to watch. Like, it was really cool to watch. I was a nervous wreck the entire time. And but it was just so cool. So hopefully this year, because I don't know. Hopefully this year I don't have that many clutches going. If I have to do maternal incubation this year, it's because something like an olive or a Timor or a white lip has shook loose, and I will accept that. And a carpet can go maternal incubation. I swear. I'll even give her eggs back if I took them to make room for like Timor eggs. I'd be like, no, here. Like, so. But hopefully this year I won't have to. But it's something that I might do later on. Like, it's just something cool.
So here's a question for you guys with.
Yep.
You know, Riley, maybe this won't apply to you as much now as it would, say, in the shop or in the past. But Owen, with his 45 different species of snakes from around the world.
35?
35? Okay.
I don't really. Hold on.
Oh, and it's close enough where you're still in the hole.
Yeah, 34.
Right.
34.
So how do you have an incubator set up to be able to, because obviously, and again, I'm pretty dumb when it comes to this stuff. I'm assuming rhino eggs, are they kept cool?
They're not in the incubator.
No, probably room temperature for most colubrids.
Any colubrid
most
is in a bin.
Colubrids are like 80s.
Yeah, 82 max. Like, I put them in a bin and they get stuck on a shelf in the snake room. That's it.
Okay.
Except for some species that need it cooler.
Some species need a cooler, which is another thing that I was doing with the rhinos.
Well,
where
maybe I asked the question the wrong way. Do you have species that you do have to keep cooler?
Yes.
We got a lot of questions that I have to.
I
see all your questions.
Yeah,
guys, we'll get back to it as we're going. But
let's put it this way: I will probably do the rhinos cooler this year.
Okay.
Because of all the crap that I had last year. First year, no problem. 2 clutches, totally great. But I kind of feel like there was either they were too hot or there were too many eggs in the box at the same time, and that was too hot. So I want to do that. So, yes.
What about you, Riley? Have you had any issues with that?
Yeah, I had to go buy a separate incubator just to run for my Crebo eggs because they need it in the 75 to 77 degree range. Dry Marcon eggs need it cooler. So
that's what I'm thinking. I said rhinos. I don't know. I had rhinos on the brain.
Rhinos,
I think that's what I'm talking about.
I think are the same level,
they're
man.
Cooler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the nice thing is a lot of colubrids, especially when you run a snake room with, some ambient diversity of heat from all your various species. A lot of colubrids just pop the egg in the bin, just put it up on the on the shelf, for most species. But so when you start getting into 30 plus species, that's a challenge.
So is this like a colubrid no-no? Would you keep the eggs in the actual enclosure with the snake? So let's say you have an egg box. Would you keep that egg box inside the cage with the mom?
Well, if it were just like an egg box with no entrance.
Yeah. If she can't get near them, maybe, but she don't.
Why are you afraid she might eat them?
Yeah,
that is a concern with a lot of species.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, first off, she don't give a fuck about those eggs the second they're laid.
Yeah,
like that is.
But that's a good question. I bet you really could just literally pop them in some substrate in a bin, just put them into the corner of the cage and on the cool end and call it a day.
I mean, if you're putting it outside,
somebody would do something dumb. Yeah.
Right. And you're putting it on the top.
Yeah.
And you're saying that your room is 70 degrees, and let's face it, most snakes are kept somewhere in that range.
Well, and when you do that, you're absolutely getting fluctuation for those eggs too. So there is no control of that temperature.
It's almost like a nursery thing.
I would think you would have more control inside it, right?
Yeah.
It'd be more stable potentially, unless you have some sort of system where you're allowing the crazy fluctuation day to night. But even then, probably not the end of the world.
I mean, again, it's almost like doing a nursery tank setup in a large fish tank. You have like almost like a tube or something where you put the guppies in that the adults can't get to them, and then you wait until they grow, and then you release them out into the tank. So this way they have the same water, same pH, same temperatures, and everything like that. So that's potential. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
This exact discussion and challenge and debate is absolutely part of my reason for the pendulum swinging back towards center for me. It's absolutely a factor. Because let's just face it, the majority of us reptile people love literally pretty much any species you throw in front of us. We'll find something we can love about it, right? For the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And in today's day and age, when you could literally just click on your phone and have something sent to you the next day, you're just like, cool, sweet, like,
yeah, it's dangerous as shit.
So, so having that ability to just kind of tell yourself, look, I would enjoy having 100 flower rats. Yeah, I would enjoy having XYZ, whatever it is. But like at the end of the day, what you got to ask yourself is, would you get rid of what you already have for those little side projects? And if the answer is no, then you already know where your heart really lies. And at that point, it's just a matter of what you want to achieve with those animals and what your end game is. And for me, like, as much as I love the Noah's Ark sort of factor of my job and everything in the past decade for me, like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've had enough of the variety taste, and now I just want to
specialize.
Yeah, a little bit. So
yeah, I feel like for me, I sort of get to do both with how, at least in my brain, how it works, right? Because like I have 2 rooms, hot and cold, right? One that's kept warmer, one's kept cooler. And that's pretty much the dividing line between Australian species, right? Some are cooler, some you keep warmer.
Northern and southern.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So anything that I would keep cooler, I'd keep in this room. Anything that would require warmer temperatures, I keep in that room, like the monitors and all. I'll be moving over to the warmer room for sure. At some point, and this will be like diamonds, inlands, bredli, probably even things like I don't know, womas. Maybe you could probably keep. I mean, they're desert species. I don't know. I go back and forth with trying to figure out like where they would fit. But for the most part, most of the things that I'm breeding all fall into that same box, right? You can sort of keep it one extreme or the other. So
yes,
if I start messing around with all these different species of snakes, and this ones are from Africa, and these ones are from Indonesia, and these ones are from China, and it's like, although they're awesome, to your point, I don't know, it's not. I would never get rid of carpets.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, Eric, you've kind of you've got the 2 zones, but for carpets, and that's something that is important to me for the future as well, because I don't feel like I should add diamonds with this room being one zone sort of thing.
Right.
Right.
I feel like to do them right, I need to have a separate zone. If that's a goal of mine, if that's important to me down the road, regardless of timeline, then I need to not overcommit in all of these other places. Right.
Right.
So I completely agree with that. And I think the problem for me personally is I've been, I guess, dangerously creative enough to find ways to make animals from Central America, South America, Africa, Australia, and Indonesia all work in one room. Right. I don't know how. And it's a small smattering of species. And I'm sure if you were to take these individual species and prime a room for them, maybe they'd thrive and do better. But like at the same time, I'm having success with a lot of species in the same room that don't belong in the same room. And that's not it's not saying like you can't do it, but it's enabled my lack of focus, for lack of a better word. You know, it's been like, well, I can pull it off because I feel like I'm capable, and maybe I am, but maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'd have checked more of my own personal boxes in the Morelia world had I stayed the course better. So I feel like that's some interesting thought, and in having these types of discussions and then seeing other people's trajectories. Yours in particular, Eric, has been really interesting because you went on that I need all the species of Python, 32 species, and at one point I was like, ooh,
yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
And then I was like, no, whoa,
Yeah.
Whoa. One berm
Even
is
I did whoa.
one berm is a lot.
Yeah,
well,
yes,
I think
is
the thing. I think that's the thing, right? It sounds good. And a lot of the people that I looked up to or even look up to have worked with all those species, right? Yeah. So, you know, when they're producing things like that, you're like, oh man, I really love because I do. Pythons are my favorite, right? You know, all types of pythons.
They're
I love
beautiful.
them all. But
but that entire room behind you would be required for one female African rock.
Yeah,
exactly. And like I was silly to think that like somehow I was gonna make it, because when you buy that little snake, you're like, it's
intoxicating.
And then they start to grow, and you're like, oh shit, I misjudged this whole thing.
Well, even if you don't misjudge it, even if you know, so there's something in our head that dissuades us from that reality in that moment where we're like, I'll figure it out. I got time.
And here's
no, you don't, dude. Like I've been attempting to slow grow my false water cobras. They didn't get the message.
You can't do that, Owen.
You can't.
No,
so
you can't.
Here's the other.
I have to move them up into new cages.
The other part of that too is like, I've said this multiple times on the show. It's like I fell victim to the whole. In order to be cool, or to fit in, or to be somebody, I have to have X species. Like, you know, I think like things like Boelens would fall into that category, right? It's like somehow if you keep a Boelens, you know, it's looked at, and I'm not saying that the Boelens people are saying this, but I'm just saying that it's looked at. It's like, oh, you have like a superior python, one that's hard to breed, all the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't really have a drive per se to have that species. Now it could be because why do I need that when I have a diamond python, which is a cold weathered python,
right?
And it clicks the box for me. Like I don't necessarily need
and you
that
can potentially produce it.
Well, only because I think I have to have it, right? As opposed to keeping what I love. Like I love diamond pythons. I love them. I would never not have diamond pythons.
Yeah.
And I think for me, to your point earlier, Riley, when I sort of got sidetracked with keeping all the species of pythons and all that, I think it really, really hurt where I would be currently with popwin carpets.
Yeah.
With my poison ivy project, with my citrus tigers, and you know, I say this all the time. I look at somebody like Martin Rosemond, right? Who said, I'm not going to have all the bells and whistles. I don't need to complete the sets. I don't have to have all the locality coastals and this and that and all this stuff. I'm just going to focus on what I dig. And this is what I like. And the dude nails it. He knocks it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you see his snakes, you're like, there you go. He's sort of picked up where John Battaglia, you know, stepped out. When he stepped out, Martin kind of took that and ran with it. And like, if you want a gamma jag, that look, that's the guy you're going to go to.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think of like Eric Hernandez is another one with Reds, right? What he's done over the couple years with Reds, dude, he's just like, I'm not going to be bothered with all this bells and whistles and frills, and all you guys are getting caught up in all these other species. And again, if that's what you want to do, that's great. Right. But realize that with that comes the sacrifice. And I think Owen used to make fun of me for years. I had the book where everything was mapped out for year after year after year after year after year. And as soon as I got into that, I got to have this and I got to have that and I got to have this and I got to have that. I'm making now decisions based off of trying to get all these species rather than focus on making the projects that I have better. Right. So if you're looking for a red, You know, it's like, oh, well, I want to buy this Moluccan scrub because that may never come across again. So I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you pass on something like Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you pass on a M-Pen Coastal that, you know, now a lot of those snakes people are coming to me as like Owen was yelling at me before. It's like, oh man, all these people are saying you got to breed this, you got to breed that, you got to breed this, you got to breed that. It's because those things have disappeared.
Right.
And they're no longer in the hobby.
And you have them, and don't make me come down there, pick you up, and visibly shake you until you breed the M-Pens. I'll do it.
The thing is, there's a lot of things that lure us off course, right? And it's not a bad thing. Honestly, no. I wouldn't change my trajectory for anything because I feel like I find my personal keeping boundaries and definitions better that way. You learn more about yourself that way. But I think the biggest challenge, too, especially in a time right now when we're worried about legislation and importation being cut off and our rights being infringed upon and all this stuff, now there's this added layer of like, get it before it's not available. And not to say that that's not,
I don't believe it,
a credible thing. Like that's a valid way of thinking. I think that's fair. I don't discredit anybody who's going to go shell out 20 grand to get rare species, not because they've been dying for them, but because they're worried they're going to be unavailable from the hobby should something change. I don't see anything wrong with that, but there's a lot of other people that are going to do the same thing. So it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I don't need that because they're not going to disappear right now. If we get to that point, we'll figure it out and reevaluate if that's something I need to do. But like, it's not the end of the world. Like, focus. Somebody else will, pick up the baton, and there's always somebody out there to be a champion for something. Usually, but I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
too many cool snakes, too little time, too little resources. I mean, that's everybody's story, right? You just replace the noun of snakes with like geckos or whatever it is, depending on, or rattlesnakes if you're nipper, or, so it's just, you just go through your phases and accept it.
I think the thing is that I think that turns people off from the people that try stuff. I think it's very important that if you really think that you want to get into a species, whatever that species would be, that you sort of, try it out. You buy one, you see if you like it, you see if if it fits in what you're doing, and you can keep it properly and all those kind of things. But I think the thing that rubs people the wrong way, at least for me, is like they come out and it's like they've had these things for years and now they're going to be the glorified expert of said species, and in a month they're selling it. That just drives me crazy. It's like, oh, these are the coolest things that ever existed. If you don't have these, you are nobody. Oh my God, they're the greatest. Blah, 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 blah. And you're like going on and on. You're posting it every day. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then I got rid of them. Wait, what? It's just show some restraint with that, so you don't look like a total noob when it comes to that. You can
be okay to be excited.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah,
but don't come off like you're now the expert that's been keeping these for years. It's like if all of a sudden let's just say I get a short tail, and I'm like sending Keith and Matt messages every day, like, dude, check out what my short tail did. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. They're going to be like, what? And then, I sold this.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that happened to both of us, Owen.
It did happen. We did do that.
Yeah.
See, that's a perfect example. Like, for whatever reason, that species just did not work did not work
for me. And
they're different.
I love
them.
They're very different. They're very different. They you can't do the same things with them. And to the thought about the whole, they don't eat they don't shed for the first few months and things. They have thicker skin. Their sheds are different. It's thicker. Yeah. It's just their entire life stage when they shed. It is a different type of like scalation. It comes off a different color. It's thicker. It's interesting. But yeah, I'm
thinking like maybe it's I'd have to know more about their natural history as babies, but I'm thinking like, are they taking cover for an extended period of time?
Probably.
They're sitting in like mud and dirt under ground cover and leaves and things that does not dry out. So like you can sit these animals in water for the first few months as babies. They don't get scale rot.
That's what Matt did. I mean,
as long as it's warm, because warm and wet is fine. Cold and wet is recipe for respiratory infection. But
Matt
if it's
does
warm
that to
and wet,
transport them to shows because he keeps them on water so they don't dehydrate.
They dry out really quickly.
Yeah.
If you put them on paper and that paper isn't humid, their skin starts to look wrinkly, like it's lost moisture.
That's something I would do with white lips if I had babies.
Yeah, so. They definitely. It's a different.
Or moss. Like if I was bringing white lip babies someplace. Dude. Moss. White lips, Dominican red mountain boas, and rainbow boas, and ring pythons. They have bins full of moist moss, and they spend 99% of their time in those things. They all shed perfectly. The second I remove that, they're gonna dry out and just have terrible sheds.
Yeah. So if you're doing paper bedding with those guys, either have a system where you can get it wet and let it dry out before it builds bacteria and then get it wet again, or run humid hides, because some of those, like rainbows are a perfect example. Babies especially, they need it humid. You can see it when they start drying up. Their skin, their scales start to like wrinkle and ripple and cave in like a dried up fingernail that fell off. It's not a good look.
But that's why my multiple species stuff works, because I figured out that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different species that work with the humid hide and stuff like that. So yeah, it's obviously not going to work for everybody, but it works for that.
Yeah.
Alex has a question.
Do you feed during maternal incubation? I do not. I know some people do.
I do.
I think some people have had success with it. I think the fear that I've always had is that,
but you're going to crap on the eggs?
Well, that was I remember in the MP days. That was she
did do that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then it dried, and then the babies pipped out of shit-covered eggs.
See, to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Why you would empty out the animal, right? We talk about it all the time. It's like you want to empty out the animal because you're going to bring them down cooler, and you want their system to be cleaned out and be going for breeding season, and then feed them while they're maternally incubating. Now, there hasn't really been studies, so I'm assuming that that if something's available, I'm assuming that if the female is hungry, she's going to take a meal.
She's going to take it. I don't think she cares.
My thinking would be is that she would try to get that meal before she lays the eggs. Now, I could be totally wrong.
Well, I would say she's going to try to get the meal before she lays the eggs, because maybe that's when food is abundant. But if she doesn't get the food and then she gets on those eggs and then she's maybe coming out to go sun herself and some little critter comes bouncing around, she's like, "No, I can't. It's not time." She's going to nail that fucking thing.
Well, yeah, possibly. But like they don't eat, like males go off food and you can't get them to eat. Right. So like, I think there must be some kind of hormone in that female to say, like, no, it's not the time for that. It's time to incubate the egg.
She laid
to
the
me,
eggs.
I think this is my opinion.
Yeah.
That if people want to maternally incubate, but they want to be able to breed that female back to back, or they just have this feeling like they're out of control. Like, I have no control of this. She's controlling this. I'm not controlling this. So let me feed it so I make sure that it's okay.
Right.
One of those two scenarios in my head.
I would say that my female did not lose that much weight because I fed her. Now she's normally eating medium to large rats. I fed her smalls, and I fed it every once in a while. And I tried to feed her when she was off the eggs, and she did crap most of the time off the eggs, but she did on the eggs near the end. So they just kind of rode it out and they hatched. Fine. I would say that as an animal, she's going to know that she expelled so much energy laying those eggs and making those eggs that she needs to get stuff back in fuel for the fire. So I would want to say that she's going to be an opportunistic feeder, that she will nail and eat anything that is offered to her because she knows she needs it because of all the caloric stuff that she lost making those eggs. And sitting on them. And also, she's not just sitting there basking. She's constantly twitching. She's doing other stuff. So it's one of those. Well, she's still not constantly.
Doing it
well, she's still, right? But she's got to take care of them. She's got to watch them. She's got to do other shit. Like, she's still burning fuel. Like, the males are sitting on their asses. I
don't know. What say you, Riley?
Riley doesn't have
What's your thought on that?
I have not fed during maternal incubation because my thought process is if if it's an animal that I'm going to have maternally incubate, she's going to be huge beforehand and have everything she needs to do beforehand.
Yes. That's my thinking.
And I've seen other people feed during maternal incubation and have no ill side effects. And I've seen people do it 100%. And have inconvenient actions result, like going to the bathroom on the eggs and things like that, but nothing catastrophic. But at the same time, to me, it just seems unnecessary.
Yeah.
They're already going for a few more weeks. What's a couple more weeks?
That's
they
why
look like,
I think it's like, I think it's that instinct to like, again, that like, I think at least talking to all the people that we've talked to over the years, Owen, about maternal incubation, it seems like it really comes down to a control issue, right? Is that like you have people that have like crazy ADD and they have to control the situation. And if they can't say that the temperature right now is 89.7 degrees, I'm going to freak the frig out.
Yeah.
And it's going to go, it's just going to be insanity for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's down to 82. What the fuck
it's
do
like
I
the
do?
people,
Oh my
it's like the
God.
people who slip the probes into the female when she's maternally incubating because you want to know if she's doing it properly. It's like, I don't.
Yeah. I think
don't think there's a right or wrong, but
I think of when Ryan Dumas did MI with that jag that left the eggs at like 45 days and then curled underneath them, and then they still hatched late. He fed her during that, and before she left the eggs, she took a meal, went back and wrapped and did all that. And he was just doing it out of pure curiosity. But I completely agree. I think it comes out of a worry that the female isn't going to have whatever she needs to do the job after being off of food for so long already. At that point, we've sort of built it up to be this, and it is a stressful thing. It is a biologically taxing thing. Like, I'm not discrediting that at all, but like, we're talking about animals that can go an extreme amount of time without food, live under harsh climates, horrible conditions, and they've had years of prime conditions before this event. They can go a couple more weeks without food, in my opinion. I don't want to introduce something in there. I don't want to potentially get a female who's in a very one-track incubation mindset to start thinking, hey, food, I'm going to go back to my old habits and ditch a clutch or squeeze the clutch and bust a few eggs, or who knows. It just, to me, it's like, if a female's maternally incubating, she has one job and one job only. And my job is to make sure she is focused on that one job. And that's it.
Right.
Until she's done.
Yeah. And it could be to that point, right? It could be my wanting to control, like my thinking, like being stubborn and thinking that that's not how it works, because clearly Owen has done it. Clearly other people have done it.
Yes.
So it does work. It's not like you can't do it. It really just comes down, I think, to a personal decision on whether or not you want to do that or not. You know, I don't think it's needed. But I will tell you that if you don't do that and your female is if you're going into breeding season and your female is not like at top condition, she's gonna look like death when it's done, man. It takes a lot out of
Well, and how many times have we seen those guys like the Australian snake catchers during the right season finding females in folks' backyards sitting around clutches? They look like absolute hell, right?
Yeah.
But what else do you notice? They're always buried under tons of leaves or up in a tree, absolutely buried. Like, if they didn't expose them, the people, you'd never find them. So then I start thinking about snake natural history and behavior, and their one defense, their one weapon is their mouth. It's their teeth, right? So if a female carpet python is wrapped around a clutch of eggs, and her main focus for finding where to put those eggs was to find somewhere safe and secure, right? That was her goal. Okay, first find a spot that's safe and secure so I can ride this out for a couple months, right? She doesn't want to be somewhere where she can be detected. She'd rather be buried, camouflaged, hidden, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So she doesn't want to be found. If an opportunistic meal happens to come by, that's fine, but then she has to leave her brood, go grab that animal, occupy herself and her only means of defense, i.e. her teeth and her ability to strike, while she's in this vulnerable state of maintaining a clutch of eggs. And she then has to go tie up all her resources, defense, and weapons to go eat when it's at that point maybe not super essential. Like,
right.
Trust me, she's probably hungry, especially if we're talking about a wild animal who doesn't get, like ample amounts of food year round. But still, they are very much in a survival mode at that point. They're not going to go take a leisurely snack if it means exposing themselves, exposing their clutch, and opening themselves up to vulnerability. That's my thought.
Right.
Unless somebody can study it in the wild and observe like 100 females on eggs in the wild that have been given opportunities to feed or something, and we know otherwise, I just don't think a female who's already gone through that much and that much resource devotion is going to risk exposing herself and putting herself in such a vulnerable position for a snack when she's on the edge of completing her biological programming, which is reproduction.
And I think too, it's kind of crazy that we would compare captive conditions to wild conditions. And as far as this, typically I would say that most, to your point, Riley, you made me think about this as you were talking, right? If you're a wild snake and you're going to leave those eggs to secure a meal, let's say, right? Well, here would be my first question. If that female is wrapped around those eggs and something comes crawling by, well, if she's wrapped around those eggs, how is she going to then unwrap that as fast enough in order to grab that prey item and wrap it to constrict it? Whereas opposed to in captivity, we're feeding frozen thawed, right? And so if, correct me if I'm wrong, Owen, she's probably wrapped on the eggs. You went in, you fed her a small
I was feeding everybody else, and she poked herself out of her box where she had the eggs. So she had already uncoiled some of herself because she smelled prey in the area, and then something came by and she nailed it. And she put two coils around it and ate it. Yep,
she
two
did?
coils.
Okay.
And but don't forget, we're talking about an animal that has never been exposed to a life of like, you're going to die from the moment you hatch. This is not a wild animal that's been found in the wild with pre-primed generations and generations of instincts. This animal has had generations and generations of leisure at human care.
Right.
I think you would have to say captive versus wild is obviously different, but I would honestly, given how many times I've seen those females around eggs in the wild, they're in blue, they look tired, they look exhausted, they look fully committed to just being completely blended in and ignored, hoping you don't see them. They look like shit, dude. I don't see them grabbing a rat or an opossum or something like that. What are the odds a small little safe meal is going to wander past them? A harmless, teething, doesn't have its teeth yet little mouse that can't stray far from mom for an hour because it'll die of desiccation. I don't know.
And then I wonder if that small meal has enough nutrients to balance out the idea of her having to feed. You know what I mean? Like, is it gonna negate? And then I think of things like with the Burmese python study that they did, where when they don't eat for a while, they're basically their insides change, right? Their organs shrink.
They go into a stasis,
whatever. So, like, are you doing something to the internal organs of that snake that may kind of kick it out of? You know what I mean? Like, kick it out of that state. I would imagine that's a state that they're in, right? It's like
probably
focused on these eggs. And
at that point, at that point, a female's probably been enduring 2.5 months of winter or more with no food, if not longer. It's not like somebody was like, hey, winter's coming tomorrow, here's your last meal. Like, she might not have had food for a long time before that even came. So she's probably at a part where her gut isn't really moving. It's in the lowest operating level for her to get through this period until warmer weather and prey availability goes up and she is no longer occupied.
See, this is the kind of stuff that geeks me out. Like, to me, that there's so much still untapped. And how does it work that we're doing different things, but yet somehow we get results? You know what I mean? Like, it's always fascinated me. Like, Owen will do it this way, and I do it that way. No way is right, and no way is wrong. Yeah. But why is he getting the equal amount of results as what I'm getting, and then you're doing something totally different too? You know what I mean? It just fascinates me. So, okay,
couldn't agree more.
One couple more quick questions, Ian. Do you do anything to aid humidity while maternally incubating?
Nope. Water bowl.
Water bowl.
The only thing I did was when I knew I was going to maternally incubate with that one jungle, I set up a nest box with moss, sprayed it down initially, but otherwise, yeah, I just put a massive 12-inch water bowl right next to it. She's in a 4-foot cage, didn't do anything to maintain the ambient climate in the cage differently than I had the rest of the year. So yeah, she did the rest.
Right. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones. No. Oh,
we need Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus to go like latch themselves to a baby carpet python for 3 years and report back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so Miss Frizzle, if you are out there, the Magic School Bus is real, please. Hi, Owen.
Hello.
Future. Okay, I guess there's. Is there any more question? I'm like I left the chat going, so I wasn't paying attention to
ones.
I didn't see any other ones beyond the ones you.
There's a lot of good free flowing thought in there pertaining to our conversation ongoing, but otherwise, yeah, I think people are just kind of discussing.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That's the kind of conversations I like. I like that. I know for a fact we're gonna get people contacting us saying, oh, you're an idiot. This is why didn't you think of this? Or, oh man, I never thought of it that way, or whatever. And I welcome that kind of stuff.
That just means we have another topic for the next episode.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%.
Always more to talk about.
Before we jump off, I'm gonna share this beautiful carpet python of the week. We talk about wild carpet pythons. Look at this gamma range beauty. Look at that. Come on. Inland carpets for the win.
It blends in really nice with the tree. Like its head almost disappears. Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. Dude, I love the blue on some of the inlands, but wow, that is like nice. That's it, man. That's it.
Look at that head. There's like no pattern on the head, and like
that's freaking wild.
So let's see. The story with this is that this was in the post it was a Murray Darling carpet python, but in the NPR chat, Justin was saying that this is more this range of where this is from is more along the lines of where you would find gamma range carpets, right? And obviously, clearly, you can see some of those gamma range with that red,
look at the sediment on the riverbanks back there. You can see where it gets its origins.
It blends in nice.
So this was removed from a roof of Slade's smash repairs. So again, carpet pythons all around people, right? In Long Reach. So and they released it up the river, and there you go. That beautiful carpet python. If you want to see it and you're not watching it on YouTube, then send me a message and I'll send it to you. You can check it out. So
cool.
Love it, man. Dear God, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
correct.
So that's all I got, gents.
Cool. That's a good place to end it, I guess.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Owen and Lucas. Owen, great filming, by the way, my friend.
Absolutely.
Excellent job.
Thank you. I'm a little annoyed that I accidentally deleted the Mojave and the Diamondback videos, but next time I will do better.
Right.
So
I will try to be as good as you in California.
Use the thingy with your phone. That stabilizes everything.
The gimbal.
It's great, right?
Yep. And make sure you just put it on everything on 4K, and you're good.
The little thing I got you.
Yeah. The thing you sent me with, gorgeous. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the thing made a big difference.
And it has a big bright light, but have the light usually goes on top. I found it that if you put the light on the bottom, it actually shines better and it doesn't get in the way. Yeah. And actually better lighting that way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
So also that light is bright as fuck. So when you're herping, you just turn it on and it's daylight in front of you. So that's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was walking around with that. I didn't even use my headlamp at all in Arizona. I just had
I get one of those big ones you can literally light up the road for 100 yards at pitch black.
So
I do not have any calendars left. No,
None.
they're all gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
I just got one back the other day. Just
Yep.
randomly, every once in a while, I get these back. I think it's my post office or something. I don't know. They're a real pain in the ass. So I got to mail them back out again. You know, it's like it's freaking March, man. Like what the hell?
At least they're still out there. I saw a video about a post truck taking a dive off of a bridge the other day.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, mail.
Yeah, there it goes.
So
nothing in there important.
Yeah.
So go check out the YouTube channel if you're listening to us on the YouTube channel, as we are live every Friday, or at least every Friday we try to be. Sometimes we're not, but we got that. Now we got that video. I am working on a video. How to set up baby carpets. Nice. And I have two approaches. I have if you're breeding them and you want to put them in a rack, and how you would set them up for success, or using one of those little nano Exoterras and doing it that way if you want a more of a naturalistic type of approach, or if you just have one snake or something like that. So I'm putting that together so I can show you what I use, what I would say that is important to have, whether you use the same type of stuff like perching or hides or, you know, whatever you're going to use, you know, figure out what you're going to do. Just like the whole idea of the paper towel holder that goes from, if you're using a tub, I find that they make the good hide because the snake can sort of squish in there and they can thermoregulate throughout the tub, right? Because the tub is hot in the back, it's warm in the front, or colder in the front. So that snake can hide and thermoregulate at the same time. To me, you can't get any easier than an old paper towel roll. When it's done, you just throw it away. So
that's why a bucket full of them.
Yep, that's why I like the butcher paper tubes, because that's just that's just a big paper towel roll for big snakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyway, that's going to be coming up soon. Working on that. So please go over and subscribe. We're getting closer to that 1,000 subscribers. We keep pushing it. So, and then also check out the website, MoreliaPythonRadio.com. If you want to get in touch with us, info@MoreliaPythonRadio.com. You got a question, comment, whatever it would be. Support USARK, usark.org. Very important to become a member. So go sign up and become a member of them. Stay up to date with what's going on with all this legislation and everything. And they'll be able to point you in the direction to sort of make sure that your voice is heard. But I think most importantly is that you just become a member, more so than anything. And that's all I got. Go ahead.
What I got is you can go to rogue-reptiles.com, rogue_reptiles on Instagram. Check out all the stuff we got going on there. There's very few things because we're right towards the end of it, but eggs are coming soon. So check it out.
Yeah. And for me, on all the socials, just Riley's Reptiles, YouTube, just under my name, Riley Jimison. Big shout out to Gary Scavino for the video he put out today. That was cool. Yes. Thanks for giving me a little shout out there, talking jungles. That was fun. And nice. Got the Teespring store. You can check out Riley's Reptiles store and animals for sale on Morph Market. Lots coming this season, so stay tuned.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Till next time. See ya.
Adios, amigos.
Later.
Peace.
No, Owen, you have to go. Bye.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, never.
Bye. Bye.
Never. There we go. It's done.